Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the NHCFAE Podcast. My name's John Espinosa, and I'm your National Corporate Sponsor Chair. And I have the privilege and honor today of interviewing one of our not just longtime corporate sponsors. This corporate sponsor has donated at the very highest level, and they're a great friend of the coalition. So, Carlos, welcome to the podcast. Thank you very much again for making time out of your busy day to talk to us today.
A pleasure, John. Glad to be here.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your career with the FAA and what you're doing now for PASS.
Sure. My name is Carlos Aguirre. I'm the PASS National Secretary Treasurer. In that role, I support our members overseeing the finances for PASS, and started out my FAA career many years ago as an engineering student. I was an intern, actually. Started out in what was the co-op program. So I was studying mechanical engineering at Pratt Institute, and was able to work in the FAA's Eastern region as a draftsman with the T-square on a drafting board, doing work on as-built drawings as the engineers would make changes to installations, and got a real feel for the work that was being done, the installation work that was being done there. After I graduated, I was offered a position, and I was working as an engineer for the FAA until my career took a pivot in 1997, when I transitioned over to become an Airway Transportation Systems Specialist, a technician at Miami Air Route Traffic Control Center. And that was totally removed from engineering design. It was hands-on stuff. So working with power systems, I learned about radar systems, voice switches, communication systems, and eventually I was able to get to the pinnacle, I'd say, of the FAA at the command center, and seeing how the NAS, all the things that happen in the NAS, the 50,000 flights a day that go through the system, 2.5 million passengers getting safely to their destinations, and all the behind the scenes activity that happens to make that happen.
Yeah, that's a great background of just really where you've came from in the agency. Why don't we shift gears? Today, we're going to ask you questions specifically about PASS as an organization, in your role in PASS, and priorities. So let's start off. Tell us a little bit about PASS as an organization, what it is, who your members are, and a little bit about the mission and vision of PASS.
Sure. So PASS started in 1977, where a group of technicians decided that they wanted to have, they were stakeholders in aviation safety, and they wanted to have a say in their careers. So they were able to form a union and be able to have discussions, collaboration with the FAA over things like working conditions, schedules, pay, various items that were important to them and still are important to this day. So PASS represents 11,000 FAA employees. And when you think about just flying, getting out on board of a plane, all the different things that our members do. So just boarding on a plane, that plane itself went through airworthiness checks through the design phase, the manufacturing phase, and our aviation safety inspectors took part in that, from the pilots being certified to fly to the flight attendants and mechanics working on that plane. All of that was work that is overseen by the aviation safety inspectors and technicians that PASS represents. When that plane pushes off the gate, where it's on the airfield, making sure that it's being tracked properly so that controllers and pilots know when they're going to be crossing, when they're going to be getting ready to take off. And once they do take off, the systems that track the plane, the radar systems, the navigation systems, all of that is maintained and certified by PASS members.
Yeah, it's amazing to think. Safety is our North Star, and we have a lot of work that goes into maintaining safety within the National Airspace System. And PASS and PASS constituents have been a big part of maintaining that mission and vision of the organization. Can you talk to us a little bit about behind the scenes, what are some things that pass is looking towards as we continue to maintain that safety, and especially now that you see the big new airspace air traffic system, right? That's coming, the BNAX that's coming in. I can imagine that's something implementation wise is a big part of you all strategy moving forward.
Absolutely. So whether you want to call it a big, beautiful new air traffic control system or a
I lost the
big,
word there. Yeah.
big brand new, what is evident is that the systems that are used in the FAA, they are getting older and they do need an upgrade, a refresh. So there is a bill that was passed for the FAA, a budget to have $12.5 billion on upgrading the NAS, principally with radar systems, voice communication systems. So it's a very, very ambitious program to replace 600 radars in the next 3 years. And so we are meeting with the contractors that are involved, with the FAA leadership, to make sure that our members, our technicians that are going to be maintaining those systems, that they're going to be trained properly, that they're going to be certified, that they will be able to bring on board these systems and be able to have a seamless transition. So we're there to do our part for that. It's a huge program. It needs to be done, and we're ready to help in any way that we can.
Yeah, I think for me as an outsider looking in, we just see and hear the work that's being done, but your members are actively completing that work. So tell us a little bit about maybe somebody who's new to the agency or a listener that's listening today that might not quite understand the role of a bargaining unit within, say, federal government.
So whether you're going to be whatever position that you're going to be in, if you are represented by a union in the federal government, you want to be an active stakeholder in your career. So for us, that is taking a look at modernization. It's taking a look at things that are going to be involved with staffing, because unfortunately, staffing for you hear a lot for air traffic controllers, but staffing for technicians, for aviation safety inspectors has also gone down and needs to be made right. We've got to, there's so much work that needs to be done. The workforce has to be healthy and staffed properly to do that. So for somebody just coming on board, you've got to be aware that those decisions that are made by the FAA leadership, Department of Transportation, by Congress, that you're going to have a say if you're part of a union and your union is going to Congress and saying staffing needs to be increased, training needs to be improved, different things like making sure that the budget is enough to carry out the mission. All those things, you are a stakeholder, and by you participating in your union, you're able to then have a voice. It's critical for whether you're going to be working at a facility that is 24/7, or if you're an administrative person, that is still a key part of the support network, that you have a say in your own career.
Yeah, and that's one of the things PASS as an organization has individual chapters, leadership opportunities, both at the local level, chapter level, and at the national level. Can you describe a little bit about how PASS, the organization, is organized? And then what are some leadership opportunities or opportunities for members to get involved in PASS?
Well, I would say you start at the local level. What's going on at your facility and what's key to you and what's key to your coworkers? So things like making sure that you have the proper schedules that you're going to be working, whether you're going to have vacation time, things like overtime or even promotions, that they're handled fairly, that opportunities for positions in your area, whether they're going to be for moving up in your career ladder. For PASS itself, we want to make sure that people are aware of their collective bargaining rights, their contract, that they're able to use that as a key resource, but then also the opportunities to become a contract representative at your facility. and beyond. So there are leadership positions, whether you're going to be as a local representative, a district representative, a regional representative, and as internally for chapters, there are different chapter opportunities to be involved legislatively, for example, to doing outreach in your community in different types of events that are like for career days, career ACE camps, STEM events, where you can represent your facility, the union, and be able to show the next generation coming up the opportunities available in FAA, in the community for working at your local airport, and with the union itself.
Yeah, I think that's where the coalition and PASS have a lot of synergy is around the outreach efforts that you talked about, the ACE camps, those career fairs, promoting aviation as a career to that next generation that may not know really what's out there. I can speak. My dad was a FAA employee, 40 years, retired. I grew up in an FAA home. I grew up right outside the gates of the Aeronautical Center here, where a lot of the training is done on that side of the house. And I still never thought that I would be in a career within the FAA. And so it's important that, and that's right here under the same roof. Imagine everybody out there who may not know, a lot of times they see the FAA as the air traffic controller, right? And they ask, you tell them you work for the FAA, and like, there's just so many other things, occupations and jobs within the FAA. And one of the things I want to touch on that you mentioned earlier was that legislative front in ensuring that we have the workforce to do the job. How do those things tie into? I know you guys have a legislative arm within PASS. Can you speak to the importance of that? And then any kind of workforce development or workforce hiring initiatives that you guys are working on?
Sure. So we meet regularly with members of Congress, especially those on transportation or aviation committees, subcommittees, to make sure that they're aware of things like poor staffing, facilities that really need the help right now, to make sure that things like funding for training at the Aeronautical Center. There's a huge backlog for technical training and even alternatives. So our proposals may be that not just having training opportunities at the Aeronautical Center, but having mobile centers, maybe having mobile mock-ups of equipment at various airports where you don't have to wait for a class in Oklahoma City. That outreach is and communication with members of Congress is important, as it is with the leadership with the FAA. So making sure that they are aware of what our members are facing. It's an ongoing process. It is something that as soon as we get people filling positions in one area, we have retirements in somewhere else. So that's part of the calculation that we can't put our foot off the gas when it comes to hiring and training folks, and that is definitely our priorities right now. Making sure we're working with Congress and the FAA to hire qualified people, give them the opportunity. And as you mentioned before, working with the coalition, the past has worked with various conferences, various STEM events, where we get the word out to different schools, high schools, different colleges, for people that are qualified, that are looking for steady, good work, that they're aware of these opportunities to come on board and be part of making aviation safe.
Yeah, and that's, right there. It's something that it's the giving back piece. We all have things that we have to do. In organizations like PASS and organizations like the Coalition, they're things that we get to do. They connect us to a sense of purpose. And I know that's important for just our overall health when we look at our job, telling people about our job, telling people about how cool aviation is and all the things that are coming down the road with the eVTOLs and the drones and commercial space side of the house. As you think about all the initiatives and all the activities and how really the world of aeronautics and airspace is going to increase, where does fit in there. Where would you say that if you were talking to some middle schooler out there that's listening to the podcast or even at the high school age, what would you tell them?
So it is sort of like, you think about the Jetsons and having personal helicopters or flying devices, drones, manned vehicles now that are not fixed wing. There just so much happening. Space travel, satellites going up. It is just so busy right now that the work is there. And quite frankly, young people are looking for jobs. They're
Huh.
looking for careers. They're looking for work that could be meaningful, that could be interesting, that it gets their imagination flowing. And things like all these new systems that are coming on board provide that. So if you want to take a look at something that is new, state of the art, this is where it's happening. It's happening in aviation right now, and the FAA is a huge part of that.
Yeah, well said. I think one of the most interesting facts is, as we look forward to the future of aviation, we know that we need a qualified workforce to get us there. And I would say even go beyond that. We need a qualified workforce that's energetic and has the vision to see us get there. So I want to just end on, if somebody's out there and they're looking for the opportunity either to learn more about PASS or join PASS and become a member, what are some things, where can we direct them to go?
Website is the first place to go, passnational.org. For people that are already part of the FAA and represented by PASS but may not be members, you can go to joinpassnow.org to join, and we can answer any of their questions. We can provide information for them and how to sign up for leadership positions and to be part of making aviation as safe as possible.
Carlos, is there anything that we didn't talk about that we should have talked about?
I think it's an exciting time. I think it's something right now that aviation is at the forefront of innovation. It always has been, and it continues to be so. And we are glad to be part of that. So I thank you for having me on and for discussing some of these things that are happening with PASS and the aviation community.
Well, Carlos, you're very welcome. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being our partners. And it's something that we don't take lightly. You've been a part of our familia for many, many years. So it was our pleasure to get you on the podcast and let everybody know the good things that PASS is doing. If anybody out there is interested in becoming a member of the NHCFAE, go visit www.nhcfae.org. Click on the membership tab and you'll have all the information there if you're interested in doing that. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I want to encourage you, click on that subscribe button. It's totally free. It helps us get this message out to as many people as we possibly can. And we promise to continue to bring you corporate sponsors like Carlos and all other opportunities on this podcast. Thank you all very much for listening in. We'll include all of the links that Carlos had in the show notes below. So if you didn't catch those, just go down in the show notes and click on those. Until we talk next time, talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Carlos.